Masterful Listener. Welcome back. This is episode 30, which is so rad because when I started the show back in August, I was so excited, as I've been often when I've started creative endeavors. And yet, I've always been a great starter, but I haven't always been the best finisher. And here's the thing, sometimes knowing when to quit is a really great skill, right? Yeah, actually, a lot of people I think stay in things way too long. But how do you keep pushing and moving forward when things are hard? Like in life. Well, mantras, words. I call them reminders. Mantras, masterful mantras have changed my life, saved my life, defined my life. Mantras have been such a big part of my life that I have literally tattooed them for those seeing the video. I've spent over 60 hours getting tattooed, and every single tattoo is a message. I draw and paint words because words are so powerful. And you know what I've learned? If you say a mantra enough, not only do you start to believe it, but you become it. Like I have become the mantra in a lot of these cases, and not in all of them. I'm still learning and saying them over and over and over again. I have them all over my house. When I was in the corporate world, I used to have Post-its everywhere. I've literally tattooed the ones onto me that I really feel guide me, like this is it and this too shall pass. We're going to get to those. But anyway, hello, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. 30 episodes. That's pretty rad. I love making this show. I love being able to be creative and share and interact with those of you who've reached out. This is one of those episodes where I really do invite you to grab a pen and paper, take some notes. You might hear some mantras that I think you might really like and resonate with. I'm also intending to, and I hope I actually do this, we'll see, but I want to make like a really beautiful PDF or file of all of these sayings and attach it with the podcast so that you all could have like an artistic visual version. But I will also post them into the description, and I will invite you, because we're in listening school, remember? I'm going to invite you to have some homework of like creating your own version of either these mantras or even coming up with your own mantras because, take what resonates, leave the rest. A lot of these mantras I've shared through the years, like I'm kind of known as the This Is It girl. My company is called This Is It Enterprises because, well, that is the first one. And I'm going to start with that one when I do start that part. But the point is, this is it. Wherever you are in your life, this is what's happening. If you like it, cool. I hope you're present for it. If you don't like it, that's okay, because this too shall pass. That's another mantra that I have tattooed right here. A phoenix with this too shall pass in the flames, because it is. The good shit passes, the bad shit passes. And frankly, if we're just present for all of it and we stop running away from it, well, we heal, we live more authentically. And even though it could be so painful sometimes to live in this world, it could also be so damn pleasurable and enjoyable, right? Like I've had moments in my life where I was like, why is this worth it? Life feels so hard, so sad. It's like, why is it worth it? Well, it's worth it because in those moments when you're inspired and in love, you're like, whoa, yeah, this is why, right? But we can't only be living for the highs. So what do we do in the lulls? Well, we get mantras. So I thought that to celebrate 30 episodes, meaning me making a commitment and keeping it and continuing to keep it, That is very special to me because, as I said, I've been a great starter, but when things get hard or I get uninspired, I typically tend to pause and quit. I've quit a lot. I'm pretty happy that I quit most of the things that I quit because I honestly think that, like, I wasn't supposed to be going in those directions, right? Lots of pivots. That's an episode of the show, The Power of the Pivot. Pivoting is great, but also sometimes staying on course is great. And when I mean on course, I mean like on course of your life. Sometimes it just, it's hard to keep going. And so these mantras, I hope, my intention is that they serve you in whatever way you need. The words hit me differently than they hit you, which brings me to masterful listening. If you've been around, you know probably a little bit of what I'm going to say. You haven't heard it in this moment, though. So tune in and listen masterfully. And if you're new, welcome. So here's how this goes. What's masterful listening? And by the way, let's keep reminding ourselves of this all the time. Why? Because we forget. Masterful listening means that for the next however many minutes we're here, this is your chance as the listener to be in a really awesome listening school with me as your leader of the moment. I'm going to share my favorite 30 mantras. I made a list. I've been making this for a while because I realized I want to celebrate the success of the show, the 30th episode, the fact that also I'm enjoying it as much as I thought and more. That was my version of success. When I started this podcast, I got really clear on what does success mean, and it was I want to love it. So I'm accomplishing that. And the next part of success is I want as many people to benefit from this as humanly possible, because literally some of these words changed my life, saved my life, as I said. All the episodes are topics super near and dear to me. And so thank you for being here. Listen fully with your whole being. If you're in a place where there's noise or distractions, I recommend you pause, pick this up when you can really listen. And if you get distracted, the cool thing is just pause it, rewind, come on back. But every little moment of this show matters, and every little moment of your life matters too if you listen to it. We're often simply not paying attention, and the universe is always talking to us. And just like if you're speaking to someone and they feel that you're ignoring them, they might get fed up and kind of stop talking to you. The same thing happens with life. So if you're going through life, rushing to the next thing and missing what's in front of you, that will have an impact. So pay attention fully. And if you hear the insanely loud footsteps that are happening above my head, I am so sorry. And I'm going to do my best to just accept the moment, because there's nothing I can do about that. We can only do things about things we can control. And we're going to get to that mantra. I think that's number 11. So listen fully, as always, to my words, to my tone. If you're watching the video, awesome. Let me know if you like the videos, by the way, because that's a new thing. And the other lens that I want to add today to our listening practice is I want you to really listen as if this is the only thing in the entire universe that is happening right now. Like literally, this is the only moment that exists, because the truth is this is this is the only moment that exists for me and for you. We're here together. Let's be here together. Oh, the gift of presence. So listen, like, again, like you've paid to be here. This is a gift. You have this time. And if for some reason it doesn't feel right and you're not into it, leave. Do me a favor. I never want anyone spending time with me unless they really want to, whether virtual or live. So if something is truly not resonating with you, take what resonates, leave the rest. That's the other lens. You don't have to like all the mantras. You might just get one and be like, oh, that's it. I got it. But you might want to stay till the end because, uh, well, no, they're all rad. Like, I don't know which one you're going to like. So actually, also, if you love them, if you love one in particular, write to me, let me know. It's always good to see how things resonate. Okay, I think that's going to be my intro because really I want to get to the mantras. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to go through 1 to 30. They are in no particular order. I just kind of did a brain dump. Like I just started writing them down. A lot of these, again, I've been saying for so long, they're in me. I keep saying I am the mantra at this point. So if you've been listening, you've probably heard me say some of these things. But well, even then, I haven't said all these things at one time. So this will be cool. This is like truly all the wisdom that's guided me encapsulated in one episode. We'll see if we could do it in under an hour. I don't know why that came to me as a fun goal, but who cares how long it is as long as it's valuable, right? So the first mantra that we're going to dive into, and this is my life mantra. If someone said, "What is your one life mantra?" This is it. This is it. Now, this is it is a phrase I know you've heard before. These are very common words. Sometimes we hear the mantra, "It is what it is." Yeah, that's a good one too, but no, this is it. Here's why this is it is a mantra that can and will change your life and enhance it if you let it. The thing with this is it is it's like an acknowledgement of the present moment, no matter what it is. We are often trying to escape our reality. We are in denial. We don't like where we've ended up. I haven't liked where I ended up physically, financially, romantically, professionally. Like, I have had moments in my life and tune into like, have you? Where it's like, this can't be it. Oh my God. No, like there's just resistance. And when you fight with reality, you always lose. That's another mantra. But the reason I didn't put that on my list is because language is very important. So even putting words like fight is just an energy I don't really want, but I'm going to write it down because it's not on my list. But again, when you fight with reality, you always lose. So this is it reminds me to just be here now. This is the only moment. So if I'm freaking out about the future or really upset about the past, this is it is like, wait, this is it. This is it. This is the only moment. Wherever you are, listener, whether you're happy or sad or fighting or whatever, this is it. And now this is it. And now this is it. This is a really powerful mantra for me because also it helps me be so grateful for like those moments of love and joy and euphoria and peace where I'm like, fuck, this is it. This is why I keep swimming through shit sometimes because life is so magical if you remember that life is so magical. You will find what you're looking for. So this is it is a great reminder to just keep you in the moment so that you stop getting anxious about the future, getting depressed about the past. And this is it is also a chance to be like, hey, this is a moment I'm getting to be really sad. Can I appreciate that? Because feeling your feelings is very important. The longer you resist anything, the more it persists. What you resist persists. So stop fighting your reality. Remember, this is it. That's number one. Number two, and this is the mantra that has been guiding me fiercely for the last year. And I swear to God, if it wasn't for this mantra and then number three, I would not have ended up living where I live, which is just my most favorite place I've ever lived. Everything good that happened because I always say every day, number two, I am exactly, perfectly on time. I am exactly, perfectly on time. And so are you. Yeah. You're not late. Where are you rushing off? Literally. Do you realize that the faster you run, you are literally running faster towards your death? I mean, it's wild. I spent my whole life feeling rushed. I was always running. I'd even noticed moments which was wild where I was home alone. I had nowhere to be. I'd be like in between jobs. Like I had no meeting and I was running around. I was just like zooming around as if I was late because I felt late. I didn't get married when you're supposed to, or fast enough, or have kids, or have this money, or have a retirement plan, or blah, blah, whatever. And it was like such a horrible feeling, even running late to meet a friend. Oh, everyone who's close to me knows this about me. I really value promptness, but if I am running behind, I will always reach out and say, hey, running a little behind. Can we push it back? Because I really don't like to be in a rush. When I start to rush, I bump into shit. I drop shit. I get stressed. No. So anytime I notice myself running to the next thing and being stressed, well, what if they're mad that I'm late? What if they're not? Uh, you are exactly perfectly on time. I am exactly perfectly on time. And so, number two, I'm exactly perfectly on time is a great mantra to have if you're someone who feels like you're always behind and you're always running late, because you're not. Okay. And if you are someone that actually like truly shows up super late to things, that is annoying. So I would work on that, because it's also important to value people's time, and have respect for it. But the point is, in life, it is never too late to be who you came here to be. Truly, I believe that. And that actually connects to another mantra that's a little bit later. Number three, a no is a yes to something better. A no is a yes to something better. I mean that with all my heart. Okay, this is like the mantra of the last couple of years. Actually, next week, I'm finally getting the rest of my second sleeve done. Pierre, I can't wait to see you. That's my tattoo artist. And this is the mantra that I'm getting tattooed. I'm getting a few, but it's a no is a yes to something better. It is so tough to get rejected in life. It is so hard. I've gone on a few dates recently, which is very outside of what I've done, but I'm like, let me be open minded. And honestly, they've all been really good and they've led to nothing, literally, like for different reasons. And I was like, fuck, that's frustrating, right? Like anytime you want something and you don't get it, a client, a human being to spend time with you, a project, whatever, an apartment, right? I got rejected from so many places to live because I accidentally had a little snafu on my credit score. No big deal. I'm fixing it. But when it happened, what kept me sane, literally, I found out I had to move. I had very little money in my bank account because I had just paid taxes and lost a huge client. And I accidentally messed up my credit score and realized I had to move in the most expensive place to live with a horrible credit score and no money. And I sat there on my balcony and I remember this moment so well. And I had this one, not panicked thought, but this thought of like, holy shit, like, what are you going to do here? Like, this is kind of crazy. And then I thought, a no is a yes to something better. A no is a yes to something better. And no, it was a yes to something better. We just don't always know it. So the reason I love this mantra is it keeps me excited when I get rejected. And instantly I go, what's the better thing that I don't yet know? And literally everything I've been rejected from, everything that's fallen apart, every person who's broken my heart and really hurt me, a no was a yes to something better. And if you're in that part of like, no fucking way, it's because you just haven't made it there yet. So just keep on going. I suggest give it some time. Things don't always happen overnight, because number four is flexibility is opportunity. I heard this phrase from a colleague I had named Lisa back at Robert Half. Shout out to Lisa. And Lisa was always super awesome. And that was one of the things I just remember her saying. Flexibility is opportunity. Now, at the time, I think she said it more like in a business way. I was in sales, I was a recruiter, and it was like the more you stay flexible, the more opportunity you have. And the truth is, this is so true in life. I think about it all the time. Am I being really, really, really rigid in my thinking? Could I be more curious? Because flexibility in how we think, in how we act, in how we show up, in how we forgive people, it matters. I really appreciate people who can be flexible. And it even feels good, like in your body. I used to be a gymnast. I was so flexible. And then I took a long time off. And then I tried to like get in a split and I almost like ripped I almost hurt myself because it wasn't as flexible. And it took time to practice. But just like if you stretch your muscles and they'll get more flexible, so will that happen with your brain. So just flexibility is opportunity. Where might you want to be a little more flexible? And if you're thinking, well, when do I have time to practice all this shit? Yeah, really cool mantras, but like when? Number 5, when is now? When is now? Just stop waiting for the right time. There is no right time. There is no right time, I've heard, to have a kid or uh, take that trip or do that thing you've been wanting to do or not. The point is, if we keep waiting for the right time, the world might explode before that happens. I mean, literally right now, there's a part of me that's like, you really got to just do everything you want to do, because I don't know how long we have on this incredible planet that we are destroying. So, when is now is my reminder to just do whatever it is you want to do. Like, stop waiting. Stop waiting. What are you waiting for? Are you waiting to get older and more tired and for things to get complicated? Unless you have a goal of like climbing a mountain and your foot is broken, then yes, then wait. But whatever you've been thinking about, if you're like, when's the right time? When is now? Permission, inspiration, just go ahead and do it. Take a little baby step. You don't have to do the whole thing. Rome wasn't built in a day. Have you heard that one? Yeah, it's true. So, little, tiny little bite. Keep going. Number 6. This one was a main mantra. This one was like a front runner for a while. It's still there, but you know, different mantras move into different slots at different times. Genius is the ability to receive from the universe. Genius is the ability to receive from the universe. That is from the I Ching. I think it's I Ching. Is it I Ching? I always mess that up. I sometimes mess that up. Regardless, genius is the ability to receive from the universe. That mantra is so rad because genius really is the ability to receive from the universe. Think about who we consider geniuses. Geniuses, the way I see it, they're not people who are like insanely talented. That's a whole other thing. Geniuses see, feel, believe stuff that others just don't. That's why they're often considered crazy until they're considered a genius. And then often they're dead because things take time for the rest of us to catch up, right? Like, just there's some people who just things come to you, things come through you. Liz Gilbert says this. It's not that you are a genius, you have a genius, meaning like this energy of inspiration comes to you. So, like, let it in, right? Genius is the ability to receive from the universe, because if you're masterfully listening to the universe, you can receive it. If you're not masterfully listening, if you're on your phone all the time, like I was walking with Rad and I was on my phone and I was like, put your phone away. This is not masterfully listening to the universe. What if a beautiful man with a dog walks by and you don't even start up a conversation? Could that was just what came to me in this moment. Or what if Rad is smelling the sweetest flower? Or what if he tries to eat something? Like, the point is, be there. And the only way you can receive if you're paying attention. So remember, if you're trying to be a genius, you just got to masterfully listen to the universe a little more, receive what it gives you. Because remember, if you keep saying no, 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 it's going to stop offering it to you. So say yes when the universe shows up with a gift. The other genius quote that I didn't put on this list, but I just want to say right now because it came to me, is it's something like very smart people do what they love, and geniuses find a way to love everything they do. So that also actually brings me to the next mantra, number 7, which is yes and. For all the improvisers out there, you know this one. Yes, and the rule of improv, the number one rule of improv, right? Yes, and. If you're on an improv stage and the weirdest shit is said, you got to say yes and then add something even more weird or whatever you want, because that is how the scene continues. It is super hard to live life when you're constantly saying no to yourself and to others. So, yes, and is a really great reminder. Be brave. Say yes, even if it doesn't make sense. And don't forget the and. The and's really important. Yeah. Figure out your and can mean you're adding something, or it could be yes, and I have a few more questions before I right? If you're not really bought in or you don't want to do it, then freaking don't say yes, because you know what the next mantra is. In fact, it's my favorite word in any language I've ever heard. No, no, no is a full sentence. That is it. Number 8, no is a full sentence. So if it's not a fuck yeah, it's a no. Learn to love the word no. No, 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 no. Yeah, 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 yeah. Right? Listen, give yourself permission to masterfully love the word no as much as I do. No, 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 no. I love to receive a no even more than I ever have now. It's still sometimes not as fun, but saying no and not apologizing. No thanks. No, nope, 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 nope. So remember, yeah, yes and came before no, but only because a yes and is kind of in its own way a no to the part of you that wants to say no. You like what I did there? That was good. All right. So number 9, peaceful productivity. If you haven't heard that episode, go and check it out. Peaceful productivity is a mantra that so helped me in my life. I have shared this one in particular with a lot of corporate executive teams I've taught and trained and coached, because everyone I know who's like really, trying to be successful and productive and cares about their work is struggling with peace. Like those two things do not go together. It's either like just chill and live your life and feel good vibe, or it's like I'm going to work so fucking hard and I'm just going to fight. And I'm like, oh, God, hold on. Oh my God. I love productivity. I want to make things happen, but I love peace. Like anyone who spends time with me knows me and Rad are the perfect fit. Me and my dog, Rad, because he's the most gentle, sweet spirit, as am I. I'm a little sensitive little baby sometimes. And anyone who's like seen me in that state is probably like, yeah, she really is. And I am a badass motherfucker as well. Like I am multidimensional, and so are you. You're allowed to have many parts. Whoa, I'm going to do a whole other episode about that. We got so many parts work, internal family systems. There's a lot of information about this. As a coach, I help people discover their parts, put together their crew so that you can find peaceful productivity, which is my favorite place to be. Peaceful productivity, where I'm getting it done. Like right now, I feel like I'm being productive, but I feel pretty peaceful. It feels so good, guys. I want it for you. Listen to that episode. It's like it's probably midway through the first season. And number 10, this too shall pass. Gam Zeavor in Hebrew from the Bible. I didn't know that was a Bible quote until a friend said it to me when I was in a very hard time. And she said it to me because she was reminding me, this too shall pass, Vet. This too shall pass. I know sometimes it seems like just life will, like that the darkness will not end. The darkness will not end. But you know what? And this would have been a really great one to add, but I'm at it right now because I'm the boss of me. Every tunnel ends in light. Like, did you ever think about that? Like, have you ever gone through a tunnel that hasn't ended in light? No, because that's the way they are designed. So the this is it very much connects to this. Every tunnel ends in light. And I just wrote that down. I knew I was going to miss some, but there's never too many mantras. And there's never a bad time to remember that when you're in a tunnel, and I don't like tunnels. I don't like tunnels or bridges, honestly. I feel like a lack of control in them. I think I like bridges more than I like tunnels, but I can get claustrophobic in a tunnel and it can seem like it's never going to end. But the thing is, they always end. Every tunnel ends in light. And so if you're in a really dark spot, remember this too shall pass. And just as important, if you're so happy, if you're just like, oh, this is amazing. My life is so amazing. Oh, first of all, hell yeah. But remember, this too shall pass. Don't take it for granted. Don't take a single beautiful day of peaceful productivity, of love, of joy for granted, because so many people never have those days. You know what I mean? And it's just good to appreciate them. So this too shall pass. It works whether you're really happy or really sad or anything in between. And it brings me to number 11, which is choose it. That is this one. If you're seeing the video, I'm showing my choose it. I got this in Belize. This is a great little story. I was in Belize, I don't know, 7 years ago, I'm guessing. And I was there on a really cool project where someone had brought me with them as a coach, like paid for me to come and help them when we were there for a week. This was a client who became a friend. And when I was there, I had just been interviewing for a job at a company called You Caring, which is now GoFundMe. Shout out to the You Caring team if they ever listen to this. But I was interviewing for this job called the head of storytelling, which they actually literally created for me to like try to recruit me, which was super cool because I love storytelling. As you know, if you're listening to this, that's the whole point. I love telling stories. And this company was doing something super cool because they were helping people raise money in times of need. It was like a crowdfunding site, but they didn't take a cut. They were the only company that didn't take a cut. And I thought that was super awesome because, people are raising money for like crazy expensive surgeries. And it's like, I don't want to take your money. I want you to have all your money. So they had a really cool business model. And when I was in Belize, I met a woman who she had a business where you could like go swim with sharks, get out on a boat. And I obviously wanted to do that. And I did it. But I started talking to her. Her name was Bunny. Oh, Bunny, maybe you'll hear this. I'll send this to you. And Bunny shared her story with me, and she had had some really horrible things happen. Her son had passed away. She lost her house. Like this all happened on one day. And I literally sat with Bunny and I was like, how can I help you? And then I thought, wait a minute, I'm interviewing for this crowdfunding company. What if I started a crowdfunding campaign and saw how it worked? So I literally sat like on the beach on my computer, started a crowdfunding campaign that I'd never done, posted it, and we raised enough money to build Bunny a house. And I took that job. And that whole moment was so cool because while I was in Belize, I was only there for a week. So we hadn't collected all the money yet. But when I was there, I was thinking about like, man, wow, look at what's possible in life when we just make a choice. The mantra is choose it. And I decided I got to get that. Just choose it. Just choose whatever is it. Because if you choose it, it's like own it. Like it's like choose it is owning the this is it, right? It's like, oh man, when I heard the phrase this is it, by the way, I was at a landmark seminar. I was not in a happy place in my life. And it was something about like, okay, this is it. And like, I'm just going to choose this as if I created it because I think on some spiritual level, we do create all our own troubles and hardships. I mean, that's like a whole other topic. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But the sooner you choose it, the sooner you can shift it, frankly. I really do believe that. So I was so inspired by choosing this. I was so inspired by this idea of choice that I was like, I got to get this tattooed, but where can I get this tattooed. I'm on a tiny little island in Belize, Key Cocker it was called. And I was like asking people, I was like, hey, is there a tattoo artist around here? And they're like, well, there's this guy, I think his name is Wimpus, but he's on this other island. And I'm like, cool. Does he have like a shop name? They're like, nah, you just got to go there and like ask for him and you'll find him. And I was like, okay, so you're telling me to take a boat to this other island and just ask for a dude and find him. Sounds like exactly what I'm going to choose to do. And so I did. And I did find Wimpus. I literally showed up, got off a boat. And again, Belize, they speak English. So I just do want to say it was a little easier. And I met somebody, I think I saw a dude with a tattoo. And I was like, hey, by the way, do you know this tattoo artist called Wimpus? And he's like, oh, yeah, follow 2 blocks down, then make a right. And there's going to be like a little building. And I freaking found it. And Wimpus was there and he tattooed me. And that is who I am. When I make up my mind, I choose it and I go for it. So that brings me to number 12. Oh, this is actually the first mantra that I remember really saying back in college. And I said it to my friends, and we're all like, damn. This was like when I would see these friends later in life, we'd come back to like, oh, Spetty, you can have your cake, eat it too, and have a glass of milk. That was it. I was in college and, I'm technically like English is my second language. So there's always been like some English phrases that I just didn't quite understand. And I was like, why can't you have your cake and eat it too? Like I didn't understand that grammatically. I was like, well, if I have a cake, I have it and then I can eat it. So we were laughing about that. And then I was like, wait a minute, you could totally have your cake. You can eat it too. And you can have a glass of milk. Kind of like the idea of this one is you can not necessarily have it all, but believe you do. You can have your cake, eat it too, and have a glass of milk. You can have it all. You just usually can't have it all at the exact same time, but sometimes you can if you're masterfully listening. Like if you're sitting down with a piece of cake and you're like, man, it'd be so great to have a glass of cold milk. And you're like, yeah, but that's going to like, I have to maybe go and get the milk. And yeah, are you being lazy in your life? Could you actually have more of what you want if you just stood up, walked to the fridge, got some milk, and then you have your cake and you have your milk and you're eating it and you're having it and you're drinking it? Oh my God, so delicious. You are in charge. You can have your cake, eat it too, and have a glass of milk. And if you haven't been having your cake and your milk, right? You haven't been milking life. That's okay. Me neither. I've actually had a really kind of crappy kind of couple of weeks. My energy's been low. But you know what? This mantra really, it's awesome. It's number 13. It's a good number because it's my favorite number. It's never too late to start your day. This is what an old roommate said to me. It's an AA quote, I believe. And it is so helpful because if you've had a shitty day, like it's 7:23, I have actually started my day this late. Uh the episode Shit Spiral to Love Loop, I think tells that story. It is never too late to start your day is so helpful because sometimes if it's like 3 p.m., let's say, and you've just been so non-productive and you felt like crap, and then you're like, yeah, but what's the point now? Because you still have time in your day. So it's never too late to start your day is a fantastic reminder if you're someone who's struggling with like getting things done, or maybe you're a little depressed. I've been there when you've just like been in bed all day. It's kind of like I might as well just stay in bed all day, but you don't have to. It's never too late to start your day, and it's never too late to start your life. It's never too late to start your life. So whichever one of those resonate, write that down. Number 14, a question that I know I often say, this saved my life, this saved my life, because it all did, honestly, because in that moment, I needed that thing, but this did really well. First, it pissed me off when I heard it, but then it really helped me because it was true. The question is, and number 14 is, what if this is happening for me? What if this is happening for me? What if this ailment I have is happening for me? What if my body is slowing me down? What if this person just broke up with me for me instead of why is this happening to me? When you ask why is this happening or what if this is happening for me, you have some sense of curiosity and possibility that maybe you're not just a victim. You know, I don't believe in random anything. I have definitely felt like a victim, but I know that when I feel like a victim, I mean, it sucks. It is not a great energy to live in. So, this question is what I say. This mantra always kind of just brings me back to can I just consider, what if this is happening for me? What if this is happening for you? Whatever's happening that doesn't seem like it's really what you want to be happening. Okay. And remember, number 15, pretty okay is good enough. Pretty okay was my favorite way to answer, how are you, for years. I hated that question because I wasn't well. And it was like, how are you? Oh, I'm fine. Probably not. I'm great when you're not sucks. I didn't want to say I'm horrible all the time because it's just pretty okay. I'm pretty okay. I think pretty okay, or I also call it like melancholic gratitude. Pretty okay is more than okay. So, like, pretty okay is good enough. Or maybe pretty okay is more than okay. You can play with that one if you want, but it's pretty okay. Yeah, pretty okay. I love that one. That one always kind of makes me feel like, it's okay. 16, and this is a shout out to my very special cosmic hubby. His mantra for the longest time was more is more. And I do love that one. So we're adding it to the lift. To the lift. Speaking of, yeah, it's like more is more lifts you. More is more. I want more. I want more. However, 17 is less is more. Yeah, that's right. I'm going the exact opposite direction because sometimes more is more. More gratitude. I don't think you can overdose on gratitude or compassion. Those are the two things. I've definitely overdosed on love, or what I thought was love. I've overdosed on like healthy food. Gratitude and compassion, I think, is always a more is more. Less is more for sure. Like less being an asshole to yourself. More love. Less being an asshole to others, less criticism, less worrying. Yeah, there's some things for sure. But why I love more is more and less is more is because they bring me to number 18, which is enough is enough. But not like enough is enough. No, it's like enough is enough. Or also, you could say good is good. That's sort of the main mantra. If I was to combine these three into one, it's not more is more or less is more. It's good is good. Yeah. Seriously, good is good, meaning some people think it's always about this or always this. I got to do this a lot or I got to do this a little. No, in different circumstances, you might want more. In others, you might want less. In some places, you might want to show up louder and say more. And in some circumstances, you might want to shut up. Shut it. You got to know when to be which kind of way. You got to know how to masterfully listen. That's the genius. It's not less or more. It's knowing when to go for less, when to go for more, and finding your own version of good is good. Don't ask anybody else. No one else is good or enough is yours. But guess what? You are enough. Everyone has that I am not enough thought. That is literally everyone, every human being in some way is I am not enough of this. But that is a lie because guess what? You are not better than or worse than anybody. You are 100% better at certain things than other people. And so number 19 is better at versus better than. That distinction and mantra changed my life because for so long I have been seen, or this was 5 years ago, so haven't heard this much recently, but I was told often that I think I'm better than people, which was very funny and ironic because I actually was quite insecure and I was always thinking I was not as good, let me be clear on that. I wasn't an insecure person, but I was always insecure about, could I be better? Like, I want to be better. I always was inspired by people. And I definitely compared myself to people thinking, oh, I'm definitely not good enough. So it was very interesting to hear that I was coming off like I was better than people. And then I had a leadership coach say, well, Svet, remember there's better at versus better than. You are actually better at a lot of things. That's why you're confident. That's why you can own that. But you're not better than people. And that was like, psh, I started realizing, yeah, just because I'm better at a bunch of stuff and you're better at a bunch of stuff doesn't mean we're better than each other. This reminds me to stop comparing and despairing and stop trying to be better than, just be better at all the things you want. But also, let's not define ourselves as humans by uh just what we do or what we're good at. But if we are comparing, then don't compare yourself as a person being better than someone. Just be like, oh, I'm better at that than you. I am a better hat maker than you, I bet, if you're listening. Unless you're like a super rad hat maker, and then how cool that you're listening. Can you tell me? That's so cool. I want to learn from you, right? Be better at, but don't try to be better than, because you're not. You're not. Okay. If you think you're better than people, probably you don't have many people who like you, because people can feel that. And it also shows up in how you listen. Right. So again, I realized that and I was like, oh, yeah, I did think I was better than people. I don't think I'm better than anybody, especially unless I like really know them and know they're like a really shit person. But there's very few people that I've ever met that actually honestly fall into that category. And so who am I to judge? I don't know every detail of people's story. Often you think you know, but you have no idea. So stop thinking you're better than people, but get better at whatever you want to get better at. All right, guys, we're at number 20. We're going strong. Oh, I think we're going to go past an hour, but let's see. What if everything is happening perfectly? That's one of my favorite questions. What if everything is happening perfectly? Have you thought that? Like when shit hits the fan and life feels so not perfect, have you ever asked, what if everything is happening perfectly? Just be with that one. Just consider that one. What if everything is happening perfectly? Number 21 is something I heard recently in the last couple of months on a TikTok video, and I thought it was brilliant, and I wrote it down, and I started saying it to myself, and I feel like it really impacted me. Power of the mind. I don't know. Did it? Yeah, because I think it did. 21 is I stabilize at a magical frequency. And what I love about that is because I live in a world of magic. I have a wide polarity. I've been really high and really low. I feel it all. 4 planets in Cancer. Woo, woo. Psychic, empath. By the way, really tough composition as a human being on the planet to be this. And really cool. Lots of gifts, powers, abilities. So I always thought of a magical frequency as like the high one. But what happens when you go super high? The fall is harder. And I have crashed a few times. The metaphor I gave was I was like, I'm going to be a big wave surfer, but I hadn't even learned how to surf small waves. So I like got pummeled so hard. So when I heard I stabilize at a magical frequency, what I loved about it was like the stable point, the middle is magic, not the high, not the low. I loved that because I often do feel like when I was in like the dungeon of despair and like the dark lower energy, I discovered so many diamonds in that shit that it was like, oh, I'm diving in. One of my really good friends, I think the fourth time around when I was just going in the darkness, she's like, you going in again? And it was kind of funny. And I'm like, yep, going in again. Don't know what I didn't find last time. And I needed to go in again, but it sucked. So I stabilize at a magical frequency. When you say this to yourself, it literally rewires your brain and your energy to find that magic here in this middle place. I really don't like going too high or too low anymore. I swear. I just like that part of me. Maybe it was a younger part of me. Maybe it was after you crash and burn a few times. You're like, okay. But I started looking for magic everywhere. And you know what? I have this thing called magic of the day, where every day I'm like, this is the magic of the day. And the reason I find magic every day is because I'm looking for it. And it's because I have said that I stabilize at a magical frequency so often that I do. And you can too. So if you like that one, try it on. Number 22. This is a funny one to come right after. This is an old school one. I would say I had to add it because it's funny and it totally shows who I used to be. Not as much now, but sometimes this is a good reminder. The Stoicism. Everything in moderation. The hedonism, though, even moderation. So the mantra is everything in moderation, even moderation. And that was my hack to get around the fact that I didn't like moderation. Everyone was like, moderation. I think I came up with this one in college around the same time that I said you can have your cake, eat it too, and have a glass of milk. Do you see the hedonism there? Yeah, exactly. But I think it's actually a hint of hedonism, just a sprinkle, you know, that's tasty. But you don't wanna live in a constant hedonistic state, I think. Well, you might, but it didn't work for me chasing more and this, and it's just it blew up my life, actually. It's not sustainable. But I feel like it is important to it's important to, like, believe in something fully and then throw it out the window too, which might be very confusing to hear. It's like, "But you're saying all these mantras and living by them." Yeah, everything in moderation, even moderation. So, I do think overall, the concept of moderation, not going too far, more is more, less is more, enough is enough, that is great. But sometimes maybe you don't want to be moderate. Maybe sometimes if you've been someone who's obsessed with moderation and discipline and being strict, maybe you got to fly your freak flag a little higher or at all. Because even moderation could be moderated a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah. And ultimately, what is all of this about? Number 23, my mental health is my wealth. Have you ever met someone who's very wealthy, has a lot of money in the bank, but has no friends and is sick? Do you think that person feels wealthy? It's very sad. It's very common. So you've made it this far. We're at 23 to 30. And these are all part of mental health. This is how I stay sane and joyful and inspired. And I want to remind you that your mental health is your ultimate wealth, because once the mind is all screwed up, well, first of all, you can come back from that. I've come back from it 4 times. I've come back from a place that literally felt like I could never come back from. I couldn't speak or I couldn't do anything. It's really scary to go from being the most capable human I'd ever met to the least. It's also very scary watching everyone see that happen who loves you. Oh my God. But here we are. I'm speaking clearer than ever, listening more masterfully every day, and learning and evolving. So, just this is my deep reminder for you that your mental health is your wealth and that it's all good. Make a ton of money. Cool. Do that too. But don't do it at the sacrifice of your health, because then you're going to spend all that money trying to get better. Take care of your mental health today. And you know what's an amazing tool to help you with that, especially if you're someone who spins out about stuff? Number 24, do no harm. Do no harm is a mantra that was given to me, was shared with me with a stranger at a coffee shop. There's an episode called Do No Harm. Listen to it for a more in-depth story. But do no harm, the way it was introduced to me, is a Buddhist mantra that you should say inside your head anytime you are in your mind spiraling about anything negative. So for me, I was going through a breakup and I kept thinking about him, his name all the time. And the more I tried not to think about him, the more I thought about him. And it was just like torture. And so she said, anytime you think of his name, instantly in your mind, say, do no harm, do no harm, do no harm. I must have said do no harm a million times in a week. And then less, and then less. And like a month after, there was a day where it was like 3 p.m. And I said, do no harm for the first time. And I was like, do no harm works. Use that one if you're suffering and you're obsessively thinking, because you are harming yourself when you're doing that. Do no harm reminds you to stop doing that. 25, one of my favorite ones that has also really resonated with a lot of people who are like, well, I don't know how to be like really direct because I don't want to come off like I'm, not nice. Stop trying to be nice, by the way. The mantra that I use is kind and firm. Kind and firm. Kind of like gentle and firm is my other favorite one about touch. I like gentle touch, but that's firm, right? Kind and firm is the way to be, I think, as a manager, as a leader. Like if you are leading a team of people or you're working with people or you have friends, kind and firm. Kind means you're direct. Kind means you are being thoughtful of, how you're speaking, what you're saying, but firm means you're not people pleasing. Don't not say the truth because you're trying to be nice and you don't want to be mean. That is actually the meanest thing you could do. So remember, maybe you use this like before you need to have a challenging conversation and you're like, well, I don't want to be a dick, but I want to be nice, but I don't, whatever. Ask yourself, what is kind and firm? How can I be kind? Another word is thoughtful, and firm, meaning direct. Being direct is kind, being firm is helpful, and stop trying to be nice. Yeah. People can feel inauthentic niceness, you know? So, kind and firm might help you if you're someone who's struggled to be more direct. That is a way I've helped a lot of people in my life see that that is a gift and it is a kindness. Okay? Number 26. This is a massive one. Self-care is a must-have, not a nice to have. Are you confusing your must-haves versus your nice-to-haves? Because let me tell you, I learned this as a recruiter. So many people looking for jobs were looking for the nice-to-haves and not the must-haves. And then that leads to quitting or getting fired. Because what are you looking for? What are you chasing after? I did this a lot in romantic relationships where I'd be like, oh my God, look at that beautiful tall guy with those tattoos and the long hair. Yeah, that's a nice to have. What I wasn't seeing was what is a must have, which is stability. Uh, have done some healing of your trauma. Uh, Emotional intelligence, listening must have. If anyone out there ever is like, whoa, that's Svetlana, I just want to hang out with her, must have listening. You gotta be at least an aspiring masterful listener, which doesn't mean you're the number one fan of my podcast, although that is awesome. It's that you really try to listen. That is a must have. I literally, the second I feel someone is a shitty listener, I am so done. I'm gone. Self-care is a must have, guys. It's not, well, after the end of my long ass 10-hour day when I didn't take lunch, then I'll maybe take a walk. No, you got to do your self care first because your self care will sustain all that other shit you do. If you keep waiting to take care of yourself, your body, your mind, your health will fall apart. And I don't want that for you. I don't want that for you. I've been there. You might have been there. Please. Self care also doesn't mean that you have to sit for 3 hours and meditate and take a bath, but it might. I have a 2 hour, I call it my slow morning routine. 2 hours. I just today started a new aspect of it where zero phone at that time either. It's 2 hours for me to start my day. It includes for me painting, taking a bath, making some food, sometimes just chilling with Rad and watching something, just like starting my day. Oh, hi, Raddy, you're shaky, shaky. He wanted to say he agrees. He's right here next to me, my little compassionate canine companion. Self care is a must, love. Take care of yourself first. Nothing is more important than you taking 5 to 15 minutes to have some self care. Okay. 5 to 15 minutes, self care, rad ritual, anything you want, make it short, and then do it every day because that is how habits are built. It's better to do something for 5 to 15 minutes a day, every day, I suggest in the morning, than sit and meditate once a week for an hour. Do that, of course, if you can, but a little bit of self care before everything else will make everything else better, guaranteed. Guaranteed. Number 27 is a very funny one. How do I bottom line this story? Okay. Number 27 is called Not My Hole. I just imagine my dear friend Anya, who was a guest in season 1, hearing that and laughing. We heard that in a leadership program. So I did this leadership program. Shout out to the Coactive Training Institute. There was a year-long leadership program where we did a lot of like actual kind of games, activities together. And through the games, you would observe how you show up as a leader. And then we would dive into learning more about that. And there was this one game where we had built like this kind of like a, gosh, how do I even describe it? Like a wall of lots of different holes. So you had to like crawl through different shaped holes in this structure. And we had to do it silently and we had to kind of work together, but we couldn't speak and we had to help everybody get from one side to the other side. And there was a moment where someone like kept trying to go in this hole over and over and over and over again until finally one of the leaders very gently was like, "Hey, uh, human, uh, that's not your hole." Yeah, not your hole. Meaning, how often in life are you trying to squeeze into that hole? But that's not your hole. Why don't you try a different hole? There's 14 others. And of course, when the person switched, they made it through the hole. So the reason I love Not My Hole is, are you trying to like force something that is just not for you? Well, it might not be your hole. Nothing more uncomfortable than jamming things into a hole where it doesn't fit. Yeah. Number 28. This one, I guess, is a little more deep. So we're going to go from not your hole to, it's the one on right here. I'm showing on the, where is it? On the video, this guy. This was, oh, I just leaned away from the mic. I'm coming back. Everything is everything. Everything is everything. How does it go? It's the Lauryn Hill song. What is meant to be will be, right? Everything is everything. Everything is everything I love as a reminder of like, we are all connected. Everything is everything. It doesn't make sense. I don't know how, but I know this is true. We are connected to the earth, to nature. For me, everything is everything also reminds me to have compassion, kind of like everyone is everyone. I can relate to people who share experiences that I haven't had because on a human level, I get it. I felt it, right? So everything is everything reminds me that this whole idea of separation is an illusion and that we can feel very alone, but we're not. And that we just have to get creative about remembering how to reconnect back to ourselves, the things we care about, the earth, people, but really ourselves. Everything is everything. Everything. I want to link that song. That's such a good song. So everything is everything is just, I got it a long time ago, and I think it could mean a lot of different things to a lot of people. So tune in and see if that one resonates with you. And as we get to the end, we're getting to one that is a very big coaching tool that I've used with a lot of people, and it's very simple. But if you're someone who puts shit off and you're like always making lists, but then you're not getting some things done, number 29, if it takes less than 5 minutes, do it now. Meaning, you know how sometimes you're just about to sit down and do something, and this is like the world of my ADHD brain. And then I'm like, oh, but then this thing, but then this thing. I find that sometimes, well, not sometimes, when I actually in the moment, I'm like, oh, this really short thing. And instead of adding it to a list that gets lost, just do it now. So, this, if it takes less than 5 minutes, do it now. This is really useful when you know that if you put shit off, you'll just forget to do it. And if it's a really short little thing, just do it right then. That's just really helped me just knock some stuff out. And once I knock things out, I build momentum and I get more done. So that's a more practical one. And number 30. Oh, and then I think I have a bonus. Number 30, though. This is a lyric from my song of the moment. And it's called Coast. And the quote is, it's out of my control, so I'm gonna coast for a little while. It's out of my control, so I'm gonna coast for a little while. It's out of my control, so I'm gonna coast for a little while. It's stoic, meaning you can only control what you can control, which is your mind, your thoughts, what stories you make up. You cannot control pretty much anything outside of you. So release it. And so if it's out of your control, just coast for a little while, meaning just surrender. Just surrender. Surrender does not mean you don't give a shit. You just think everything will happen. But I mean, it honestly will happen. Sometimes doing nothing is like the smartest thing to do. And so this lyric and this song of the moment that I will post, Gone, Gone Beyond, you guys are super rad. This song has just been my reminder that, like, you know what, shit's out of my control. I'm just gonna coast. But I like the little while part, because you don't want to coast for so long that you don't take the wheel, but just like coast for a bit. You decide what a little while is. You get to define moderation. Yeah, that's right, because you're the boss of you. All right, that's 30 mantras. And the last one that I wrote down underneath the list is, and this was another college one, and I remembered it today as I was driving thinking of this recording, and it came and I wrote it down and I wasn't sure, but I'm going to say it right now, because actually I think it's perfect. It's the perfect one to end with. You only become an entrepreneur when you learn how to spell the word. Now, here's what this one is a reminder of, and it's not about whether you're an entrepreneur or not. It's about the idea of, it's really easy to say fancy things. Oh, I'm going to start a business, or I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this. It's like really cool, right? Everyone's like, be an entrepreneur, work for yourself. Oh my God. It is a lot of work to be an entrepreneur. And I realized at some point, because I was very entrepreneurial and I always wanted to work for myself, but I think I was in my mid 20s and I was already kind of starting some of my own side things and businesses. And I was just like trying to write the word entrepreneur, and I didn't know how to spell it because it's a really confusing word. And I remembered that quote, this idea, this mantra that came to me back in college. And I think the reason that it came to me was because I was realizing that, like, you got to do the work. You only become an entrepreneur when you learn how to spell the work. Means, like, it doesn't even matter what you say you are. It matters who you show up as. And if you're saying you're something, you better know how to spell that, at least. I hope you get that. It felt so profound to me. So it was funny when I was trying to like do all this stuff as an entrepreneur, but I couldn't spell entrepreneur. I was like, uh-oh, where am I full of shit? Do I just want to look like an entrepreneur, or do I want to be one? And so I did learn, and I'm telling you, I don't even know if I wrote it correctly here in my notes. No, I did. ENTREPRENEUR. ENTRP. RTR. I messed it up. Anyway, point is, if you want to be something, you can. You are, but really be it. Don't half-ass being who you are. That is, it's just it sucks to live a life where you're like, but I know I could be. You are. Claim it. You are whatever you believe you could be, but you got to start acting like it. Okay? So, how was it? 1 minute, 10 seconds. 1 minute, 10 seconds. Did you hear that? 1 hour, 10 minutes, 38 seconds without the music at the beginning. So it's going to be a little bit different for you if you're paying attention to the timing on the podcast, which would be such masterful listening. So kudos, A plus to you for still being here. How was that? I've never done a mantra episode before. That was a lot. I probably could have gone off on all kinds of tangents and stories about each one, but I didn't want to do that. This was sort of a gift of mantras that hopefully will really serve you. And here's your homework. Your homework is watch the video of this show. Tell me if you like the video or listen to it. Okay. Oh, you've already done your homework. Wow. And if I actually do um, make this PDF image, or I don't know what it's going to be, but I want to make some sort of artistic expression of these mantras. If I choose not to do that, I'll just post them in the description, but take them, copy them, and then take one of them that you're super drawn to and just like recreate it. So draw your own version of it, or, extra credit challenge, go get it tattooed on your body. Yeah, be cool like me. Sorry, mom. Um, and the point is, I don't want you to just be inspired by the mantra. I want you to live it. So first, masterfully listen. Which one do you like? Maybe you like a few. That's fine. Choose as many as you want. You can't really overdose on mantras except if you're someone that's always quoting shit but not living it. That's BS. Don't disrespect the mantras. So choose some mantras. Make your own version of these mantras. Create a beautiful way for you to see it every day. When is now? This too shall pass. Choose it. Whatever. You can have your cake, eat it too, and have a glass of milk. I promise. I'm going to go do that right now. And yeah, use it, live it. You will become the mantra. I am an example of that. I am exactly perfectly on time. I know that a no is a yes to something better. And as always, this is it. So if you love it, you love the listening school, thank you. Keep sharing, subscribing, leaving reviews. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. And in fact, if you leave a review of this show, I will make you your own special art mantra. You'll send me your favorite. Message me and let me know. Yeah, I'll do it. That's right. I'll do it because I want to do it, because I'm so happy that you've joined me for this very special 30th episode celebration. I'm going to wrap it up. I hope this inspires you to live more fully into who you are, because you're freaking awesome. Yeah. I'll see you next time. Bye. It's out of my control, so I'm gonna coast for a little while.